Tuned to KGVM Bozeman. We are Gallatin Valley Community Radio. We're at 95.9 on your FM dial. We're at kgvm.org online. And it's time tonight for the local musician spotlight. We would like to thank our underwriter, Bozeman Arts Live, for supporting this program. They're a platform for creatives in the Gallatin Valley. They are art for this moment. You can follow them on all of the streaming and social media platforms, and you can find more at bozemanarts-live.com. We're in the studio tonight with John Lowell.
Tuesday night, it's me and the boys having some fun and making some noise, shooting the dice, just fooling around, until the police came and took us all downtown. The sergeant said, I'll give you the news, you're gonna spend the night in the calaboose. I said, we better get one thing straight, no, mama don't like it when I come in late. No, now mama don't like it when I come in late. The floorboard's creaking underneath my weight. It don't matter about my alibi, she's got a pan in her fist, blood in her eye. Our kind of love, it really is fine, as long as I'm home and in bed by 9. A night on the town can really be great, but mama don't like it when I come in late. Well, out in the woods where the moon shines still, running corn liquor in a coupe de ville. My tank's topped off, but I'm running behind. I gotta get the liquor to the county line. Well, so I'm cruising along, thinking I'm in the clear, till I see the flashing lights in the rearview mirror. In case you didn't hear, I'll reiterate, the mama don't like it when I come in late. Oh no, now mama don't like it when I come in late. The floorboard's creaking underneath my weight. It don't matter about my alibi, she's got a pan in her fist, blood in her eye. Our kind of love, it really is sweet, as long as I'm healthy and quick on my feet. A night on the town can really be great. Oh, but mama don't like it when I come in late. Yeah, she rules the roost, there's no debate. The mama don't like it when I come in late. When I come in late, when I come in late.
All right, I always like that song. It's you recorded that with the 2-Bit Franks?
Yeah, I put it on a solo record. That the first time I recorded it was on a solo record called "I Am Going to the West." It was pretty new at that point, and so it's kind of morphed into something different than it was originally. But I always say that's a cautionary tale to all the guys out there.
Yeah.
It's not personal experience by any means.
You read about it in National Geographic.
Yeah, right. Right.
Well, yeah, the image, pen in her fist and blood in her eye, that's enough to, scare you straight, I think.
Yeah. Make you toe the line.
Yeah. I want to thank you for coming in tonight. I've seen you in like a lot of different configurations with Cairns River and Two-Bit Franks and Growling Old Men, Lone Mountains Trio.
Yeah, play with whoever will have me. Should we do another song?
Yeah.
Okay. I just came out with a new recording, and this one is called "She's Leaving Cheyenne," and it's a song of a CD of all Western songs and cowboy songs, and this one's on it. Actually, this is the first one. This is the first cut, and it's called Angus McKenzie. And I wrote this. I was going through Chugwater, Wyoming, one time, and there used to be, there may still be, this outfit called the Swan Land and Cattle Company. And back in the 1800s, it was owned by a British guy. Can't remember what his name was, but he was an absentee owner. And so it got me thinking about, the cowboys that in the Old West was not a glamorous job like they show in Hollywood. It was dangerous. They're overworked and underpaid, and so this is and a lot of them back then were immigrants. There weren't a whole lot of people still that were actually born in this country at that point. So there were German cowboys, and there were Irish cowboys and English cowboys, and this one's about a Scottish cowboy. And it's a story about how he comes over looking for adventure and then finds out that cowboying isn't all he thought it was. And he doesn't really want to do it anymore, but he's too broke and he can't go home. So it's called Angus McKenzie. Angus McKenzie, o'er the raging Atlantic I've come. Hang your hat on a nail and I tell you my tale. I promise that I'll not keep you long. Come and listen to the words of my song. I left the shores of dear Scotland on a clipper ship bound to the west. The last of 4 sons, I was foolish and young. To the plains of Wyoming I pressed. Adventure was the dram I loved best. Now I'm spending my life chasing cattle for a man that I never have known. And all he will pay is $1 a day. I haven't a place to call home. All the days of my youth now have flown. In the dust and the heat of the summer, through the breaks and the badlands I ride. And when the winter wind blows, it cuts clear through my bones. I feel like I'm frozen inside, and I haven't a place I can hide. And at night, when I gaze at the fire, it's the highlands I've got on my mind. And alas, back at home, for I started to roam. Only now that I'm old do I find that I've left all I love there behind. And when I dream now, I always always hear voices crying, "Laddie, won't you come on back home?" How I long to return, but the wages I earn as a cowpuncher won't let me go. I'll die in the saddle, I know. I'll die in the saddle, I know. Angus McKenzie.
That's a good story song there.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
So on the new album, you do that one with the Lone Mountain Trio, is that?
Right, yeah. It was Kevin Fabosi and Tom playing mandocello and Tom Murphy playing the mandolin. And my buddy from London, a guy named Ben Summers, playing bass. That version on this new record, Kevin and Tom and I put out a Lone Mountain Trio record, 3-4 years ago, something like that. And that song was on there, but never really pushed that record very much because most of the CDs were defective. I used a company that, well, you can ask me later if you want me to tell you their name, but I don't recommend them. And I'll never use them again. But there was not one CD that was actually completely right. And so we felt bad about trying to push this thing and sell these CDs if we didn't even know if they were going to work or not. So what I did on this new Western record is I just used the same files. Those guys didn't have to record anything new. I sent them over to Ben over there in London, and he added bass to it. So. But yeah, it's the Lone Mountain Trio. We used to play up at Big Sky all the time, and had a great time for many years, but we don't do it anymore. So here's a song that I wrote while I was down in Texas. I used to go down to Texas every year to play around a campfire at a deer camp with this guy named John Moore, and our official duties were sitting around the fire playing music together, and our days were free. He normally would go out, he'd bring his family along, they'd go bouncing around out in the sticks, and I would stay at the bunkhouse and try to write songs. And so this is one that came out on one of those deer camp days, and I put this one on the CD that I came out with right before the pandemic. The CD is called This Long Stretch of Gravel, and that title comes from the very first line of this song. And on this particular song, I have Missy Raines playing bass, who's if you're not familiar with Missy, she just won Bass Player of the Year from the International Bluegrass Music Association for like the 10th time. Yeah. And so she plays on everything on that record. And on this song, it's her, and then Bill Payne from playing piano. Bill Payne from Little Feat, who is a neighbor of ours, lives down in Tom Minor Basin, and then Claire Lynch is singing harmony with me. But tonight it's just me. So you have to imagine Bill and Missy and Claire being here. It's called "Walking My Blues Away." I've been walking down this long stretch of gravel, humming a tune. My feet are keeping the time. I've been walking down the road less traveled, traveling down the line. When I'm troubled by a bad situation, everything's wrong, or the world is cloudy and gray, things are better if I change my location, walking my blues away. Oh, no need to be in a hurry, Troubles dissolve when you take your time. Shake off your cares and your worries. Sooner than later you're feeling just fine. You know that you can bet your bottom dollar where I'll be if things ain't going my way. Can find me in the hills and the hollers, walking my blues away. It's the rhythm of my footsteps falling, swinging along, and it seems to lighten my load. If I listen when the hills are a-calling and set out down that old road, the more distance between me and trouble, the less chance that the blues will be hanging around. They'll be leaving my mind on the double, making a smile from a frown. Oh, no need to be in a hurry. Troubles dissolve when you take your time. Shake off your cares and your worries. Sooner than later you're feeling just fine. You know that you can bet your bottom dollar where I'll be if things ain't going my way. You can find me in the hills and the hollers, walking my blues away. Yeah, I'm walking my blues, wearing out my old shoes, walking my blues away. Walking my blues away.
That one acquitted itself nicely with just you. I think that sounded great.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. This next one is a new one for me. Since I moved my capo, I should probably tune up again while I tell you about this. The last few years, there's a thing here in Montana called the Montana Fiddle Camp, and there's 2 one-week sessions. And this past year, I was teaching at both of them. And they always have an auction to raise money for the camp, and they usually have a couple of really cool things. There's just a bunch of stuff that they auction off, but I really wasn't interested in acquiring more stuff. But I wanted to help the camp out, so I said that I would write a song for the highest bidder, and I did it for both weeks. And this is the song that came out of the second week. And the couple that bought the song, I was talking with them at lunch about what they might want to have the song about. And their names are Judy and Steve. And they live in Missoula. And they said that they thought it might be nice to have a song about music in their life and how it's brought them closer together. Neither one of them were musicians, and their kids left home. They're empty nesters. And Judy was overseas, and she came home with a mandolin that a dying relative had given her. And she just had this mandolin all of a sudden. She'd never played mandolin, played anything really. So she started to learn how to play it, and over time she learned how to, play, got some tunes going, and started going to jam sessions around Missoula. And Steve would go with her, and he would just sit in the corner and listen, and just enjoy the music. And he decided he wanted to get in on the act and play music too. So he bought himself a guitar, and So now they play guitar and mandolin and sit around in the house at night, and they say it's brought them really, really close together. And it was totally unexpected. They just came out of left field. They didn't ever consider music at all for anything. And so they're telling me the story, and I said, yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? How we're all on the same road, and And it's a road that doesn't have any end to it. I mean, we all start at the same place the day we first pick up an instrument to learn how to play music, but we'll always be on this road, and we'll never reach the end because there is no end. So they said, yeah, we think so too. So that's what the name of this song is. It's called "The Road That Never Ends." Across the tarmac with a small case in her hand that held a mandolin she got in some far distant land. She had learned to play a chord or two when there was time to spend, but did not know that she was on the road that never ends. She tried to pick that mandolin in almost every day, 'cause it takes a lot of practice if you're going to learn to play. But slowly as the time went by, she learned a dozen songs and realized that this was the thing she looked for all along. Oh, the road that never ends is playing music every day. There's always something new to learn, and she will often say, it's so good to play a tune or sing a song with all my friends. Walk another mile on down the road that never ends. Well, he listened to her mandolin, the tones were pure and sweet, the way the notes hung in the air and kept a gentle beat. So he got himself an old guitar, he tuned it up and then set off on his own trip down the road that never ends. Oh, the road that never ends is playing music every day. There's always something new to learn, and he will often say, it's so good to play a tune or sing a song with all my friends, and walk another mile on down the road that never ends. As the evening fire is burning low and stars are shining bright, they play that mandolin and old guitar most every night. And if you were to ask what is the best part now for them, it's walking hand in hand on down the road that never ends. Oh, the road that never ends is playing music every day. There's always something new to learn, and they will often say, it's so good to play a tune or sing a song with my best friend. We're walking hand in hand on down the road that never ends. It's so good to play a tune or sing a song with my best friend, while walking hand in hand on down the road that never ends.
I hope that Twin Judy's reflecting on how fortunate she was to have this happen and to introduce her to music, that she also reflects on how lucky she was that her relative didn't play the tuba.
Yeah.
Might have been a whole different, it would still be a road, but a different road.
Yeah. A lonesome road. Yeah. I had a friend email me a cartoon, one panel cartoon. There's 4 musicians sitting in a row in chairs, and one's a banjo player, one's an accordion player, one's a bagpipe player, and the 4th one was a hippie with congas. And the title was The 4 Musicians of the Apocalypse. Yeah, I got a chance to play that for those guys. My buddy Ben Winship and I, we have a duo called the Growling Old Men, and we played at the River Roots Festival in Missoula this past August. And I figured Steve and Judy would be there, and so I was ready for them. I had this song all learned up, and I brought the music and went over to the pickup and sat on the edge of the tailgate and played it for them. They hadn't heard it before, and I gave them the sheet music, and And yeah, I think they liked it. I like it too. I'll record it one of these days.
Yeah, it's a good song.
Thank you.
I like the lyrics.
Yeah, thank you.
That idea of this journey that you can be on and you can go together, and it's a great uniter.
Yeah, it is. My wife Joanne and I, she's a fantastic singer, and we have a whole set of stuff that we do together, and it's music's a good thing, and we have a good time coming up with new stuff. So this next one here is you folks in Montana. Speaking of roads, we'll do a couple of road songs here. This is about a road called the Skalkaho Road. This is another one I wrote down in Texas, which really has no bearing on anything, but that's where I came up with it. And if you haven't been over the Skalkaho Road, you should, some summer day, if you're out for a drive, go take it. It's a beautiful drive, and it's only open when there's no mud or snow. Have you ever been over that?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably on a sunny summer day, it's a good idea. On a rainy day, it would be a less good idea.
Yeah, much less. And then it's closed. It's just flat out closed when it's snowy. But this road it goes between basically Phillipsburg, Montana, over the Sapphire Mountains down into Hamilton. It just dumps right into Hamilton, and it's dirt. And on the east side, it's really nice. It just kind of winds up through the trees, and on the face of the mountain, and you got to be careful because there's cars coming the other way. And but then when you cross over the top, the ecosystem, it's amazing. The ecosystem just changes. It goes from jack pines and lodgepoles to immediately to bare grass and ponderosas. So as soon as you get on the other side, and the other side is carved into the side of a mountain. There's no guardrails, and it's a drop. You don't want to go off the edge of this thing. You pay attention. So, but it's got this interesting name, Skalkaho, and I don't know how old that road is, but it's probably not as old as I make it out to be in this song, because the song is about freight wagons being pulled by teams of oxen going over the road. And so I tried to make this song sound kind of like the Erie Canal, that kind of folk song. So there's reference to Hamilton. There's also, for you folks that don't live in Montana, there's a place called Lowell, Montana. And so I just kind of inserted Lowell in there to talk about the trail through Lowell. I have no idea if there was a trail through. Well, there kind of was. Yeah, Lewis and Clark went over the Travelers Rest. They were in Lowell. But anyway, it's called Skalkaho Road. Let me start that again. Pack up your wagon and get ready to go. The sun's coming up, don't be moving so slow. The sky's clouding over and it's fixing to snow as we head down the Skalkaho Road. Bushels of beans and a keg full of nails, powder lead and a packet of mail, a box full of horseshoes, a barrel of ale, all bound for the Skalkaho Road. Hey ho boys, we're on our way, 18 miles yet to cover today. 4 yoke of oxen and a heavy load, bound for the Skalkaho Road. Best damn bull whacker you can believe. I can drive these mountains with the greatest of ease and pull into Hamilton as slick as you please, coming down off the Skalkaho Road. Hey ho boys, we're on our way, 18 miles yet to cover today. 4 yoke of oxen and a heavy load, bound for the Skalkaho Road. trail through Lowell is easy and wide, but it's a long way around once you cross a divide. I could save 2 weeks, but it's a hell of a ride coming down off the Scalco Road. And it's, hey, oh boys, we're on our way. 18 miles yet to cover today. 4 yoke of oxen and a heavy load, bound for the Scalco Road. I did some research on ox teams too when I was writing that. I didn't know how many pairs of oxen one would use on a freight wagon. So I kind of like doing that when I'm writing songs, to have, stuff like that. It's try to make sure that my dates are right, and if there are dates, and so I remember looking up on the internet about ox-drawn wagons and freight wagons, and I didn't know if one team of oxen would do it, or if you needed 20. Like the 20 mule team, Borax things.
Yeah. Well, if you are just tuning in, you're tuned to the local musician spotlight here on KGVM. We'd like to thank you for listening, and we would like to thank Bozeman Arts Live for their support, and especially we'd like to thank Logan Productions for facilitating this whole series and providing the space, the video equipment, the audio equipment, all of the labor. And this show is being simulcast on the radio and on a YouTube live stream. So you can go to Logan Productions YouTube channel and you can check it out. You can watch it there after the fact. If you know somebody who would like to see it and missed it, they can go there and see it anytime. So while you're there, if you punch the subscribe button, you can find out whenever there's new stuff on the Logan Productions Facebook or YouTube channel, and there's a lot of good stuff on there, so I heartily endorse it. And also, I'd like to mention, if you'd like to maybe help John out a little bit and express your gratitude for the great music, and John Lowell 9979 at gmail.com, or on Venmo at John-Lowell-1. So both of those things, and you can, this is the 21st century, and so tip jars have gone virtual.
That's right. Another song?
Yeah.
Okay. I mentioned this Cowboy and Western CD that I just came out with, and this is the title cut. I had this melody running around in my head, as I almost always do, and sometimes it's not a song I'm working on. It's just one day my wife, for some reason, we were driving somewhere, and she sang that jingle, "See the USA in your Chevrolet," and all of a sudden, that was the song in my head. It was, it replaced whatever else was running around in there. I had to consciously think of something else to play on the the song in my head loop, and so this particular melody was running through my head, and I didn't want to write a cowboy song. I was trying not to write one, and so I remember where I was. We live on the edge of this hill, and the road going down is pretty steep. And I remember at the very bottom of it, I was making the corner, and She's Leaving Cheyenne kind of dropped into place in this melody. I thought, oh, okay, well, I can probably still not write a cowboy song, but it sure sounded like it is one. And then as I was working on it, this line came in, but we'd ride across the prairie, and I thought, oh, okay, I give. It's gonna be another cowboy song, but it turned out really on the record. It turned out really well. I'm really happy with it. And my friend Natalie Padilla plays twin fiddles, not twin fiddles, just fiddle on it. And my buddy Ben Summers plays bass and sings tenor harmony. And my lovely bride Joanne sings the high baritone on this. So it's a sad tale but it's called She's Leaving Cheyenne. it is, okay? There's a bitter wind blowing, coming out of the west, off the peaks of the Rockies, from the high mountain crest, and the white clouds are sailing in the sky of pale blue. Well, there is no way of knowing just where they are going, but I'd like to go to. Oh, I met her one summer in this little cow town, when the meadowlarks warbled in the sage all around. We would ride across the prairie, I'd take hold of her hand. It was just her and me, the way it would be if we were leaving Cheyenne. And there's nothing so cold as a Wyoming winter, except for a girl who will betray a young man. And there's nothing so sad as a heartbroken cowboy. I thought she would stay, there's nothing to say, 'cause she's leaving Cheyenne. Well, her voice had the shimmer of a high mountain stream, and her touch felt like feathers, at least that's how it seemed. She'd smile when I tell her all about my big plans, how I knew that one day I would draw all my pay and we'd be leaving Cheyenne. Well, I thought we would marry, I longed for the day, but she found me one evening, and to me she did say, I have come here to tell you I have found a new man. It's not much of a warning, but first light in the morning I'll be leaving Cheyenne. And there's nothing so cold as a Wyoming winter, except for a girl who would betray a young man. And there's nothing so sad as a heartbroken cowboy. I thought she would stay, there's nothing to say, 'cause she's leaving Cheyenne. Oh, I thought she would stay, she's going away, she's leaving Cheyenne. She's leaving Cheyenne. Just breaks your heart.
Sometimes those cowboy songs won't be denied.
They won't. They will not be denied. That's right. Yeah, I tend to write a bunch of them.
was wondering if you'd maybe mention something about the cover of the new album. It's a pretty striking picture.
Yeah, I use that word too.
Painting.
It is a striking painting because it's a lightning bolt. My friend Clyde Aspavig graciously told me that offered to let me use one of his paintings. The last 3 solo records I've done have had kind of painting motifs. The first one back in when was it? 2012 or something like that. It's called I Am Going to the West. And another friend of mine who's no longer with us, a guy named Chip Drush, who was a great guitar player and a great painter, and he was a saddle maker, and he was kind of a Renaissance man. He painted this thing, and I'm not even sure what the title of the painting is. But when I asked him if I could use it, he was very happy to let me use it. And it reminds me of an Albert Bierstadt painting. It's kind of this brooding, gloomy kind of painting. And I asked him if it was any place in particular, and he said it just came out of his head. But and then the long stretch of gravel one, that was actual photograph, but it was run through a Photoshop filter to make it look like a watercolor. And it was of this wild clouds and a storm that was. I remember that storm specifically. It was, but the photograph was taken down by Gardner, and we live in Livingston. But and then so I thought, man, I should continue on with this painting thing, and I don't know how it came about, but Clyde said, "Come on over to my studio. We'll find something." I had told him what the name of about that she's leaving Cheyenne. And so it shouldn't be a mountain scene; it should be some sort of prairie scene. And if you're not familiar with Clyde's work, do yourself a favor and go to ClydeAspavig.com. Aspavig is spelled Aspevig. It's a Norwegian name, but he's like the Michael Jordan of landscape artists. He's amazing. He's just amazing, and he paints to music. And I had sent him all the music off this thing so he could get an idea of what might be a good painting. And so I went over to his studio, and he had all these prints laid out, and stuff that he thought it might work. And he said, "Help yourself, pick whatever you want." And that lightning bolt one wasn't in that batch. There were a couple that I was leaning towards, and I took pictures of the ones I was considering. But that lightning bolt was just a little print hanging on his wall. It was in a frame and everything. And he said, "My sister has the big version of this one, but I don't think it has a name either." No. So, but Clyde is he's world renowned, and I'm just so honored that he gave me permission to use this one of his paintings. So, and it's an amazing photograph. Or it looks like a photograph,
yeah,
but from a distance. You get up close, and it's obviously a painting. But it's. Let's see. Why don't I do one? There's a song that I wrote years ago, talking about the Western thing. This song is on that She's Leaving Cheyenne CD as well. But it's one I wrote years ago, and if a guy like me can have a hit, this would be it, because it's been recorded at least 14 times by different people, and I had recorded it twice myself, and it's another tragic song of the Old West, and I thought, well, you know what, this song, it's called Sarah Hogan, and I thought it deserved a spot on this recording, but I didn't want to do it the same way I'd done it already twice. And so my wife Joanne said, why don't you do it as like a poem instead? And we have a good friend that I've known. This guy, his name is Randy Riemann. I've known him for 40 plus years, and he's a horse trainer, and he's broke horses for the Parker Ranch over in Hawaii. He's run
cow camps up the West Fork of the Madison. I mean, this guy, he wasn't always a cowboy. When I first met him, he was a farm boy from Illinois. But he came out to Montana. He wanted to be a cowboy, and he has become a cowboy. And but he's also become somewhat of a big shot in the cowboy poetry world. And so I asked him if he would be willing to recite Sarah Hogan as a poem, and then I'd put a music bed behind it. And he said, yeah, I'd do that. But he had a hard time separating the song that he'd heard for all these years from reciting it as a poem, and it took him a long time to for him to be happy with his cadence and everything. And I think it turned out pretty well. It's on all the other songs you hear my voice, and all of a sudden there's some other guy. But I think he did a good job. But I'm not going to say it as a poem. I'm going to sing it. The guitar is not behaving tonight. Okay, here it is, Sarah Hogan. Jeez. Sorry. My tuner said I was in tune. My ear says I'm not. Try it again. Near the pine-covered hills of South Dakota, when the evening skies are shining cold and clear, and the drovers tell their stories round the campfire, the tale of Sarah Hogan you will hear. Sarah was the sweetest flower of the prairie, with flowing hair and blue eyes flecked with gray. Her smile could turn the sunshine into shadow, and the cowboys that came courting her would say, won't you meet me in the moonlight, Sarah Hogan? We can ride out in the hills, my Sarah dear. Hear that prairie wolf crying, he sings a mournful song, but I will not be lonesome with you here. Billy Caldwell was a bold and reckless cowboy. He vied for Sarah's heart, and not in vain. But her father could not stand the charming round her. He forbade them both to ever meet again. Then Billy fell in with some bad men from Wyoming. When they robbed the Tilford Bank, 2 men were killed. But Sarah did not know her lover was an outlaw. On the night she rode to see him in the hills. Won't you meet me in the moonlight, Sarah Hogan? We can ride out in the hills, my Sarah dear. I hear that prairie wolf crying, he sings a mournful song, but I will not be lonesome with you here. In the quiet shadows waiting for the outlaws,
We're some vigilante shrouded by the night. Well, Sarah's father raised a rifle to his shoulder as a mounted robber lined up in his sights. And when the gunshot tore the silence just like thunder, the bullet knocked the rider to the ground. But when the men ran out to fetch the fallen outlaw, well, it was Sarah's lifeless body that they found. Won't you meet me in the moonlight, Sarah Hogan? We can ride out in the hills, my Sarah dear. Hear that prairie wolf a-crying, he sings a mournful song. But I will not be lonesome with you here. No, I'll be all alone without you here.
When I heard that on the album, I had a little bit of that same trouble of like seeing the title on the back of the album. It's like you have this expectation when it started out and that guy started talking. It's like,
wait a minute.
Wait. But yeah, I think it fits on the album really well.
Yeah.
So.
Thought this thing was on stun.
Apparently not. We have time for a couple more, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, here's one. Did a record. There's a band called the John Lowell Band that only plays in Europe because the bass player is German, and we can go over there, and it doesn't cost a thing to go to the EU and play music. To get him over here, it's like $3,000 just for the work permit.
Oh man,
it's and then you add a plane ticket on top of that, you're $5,000 in the hole before you even start. But but we made a record, and a few years back, my friend Tom Murphy and my friend Julie Elkins are in the band, and I was listening to it the other day. It's actually not a bad record. When I get done with making a record, I normally won't listen to it again for a number of years because I'm just so sick of them. And that's even if I'm not involved with the mixing. You know, if you're sitting there when it's being mixed, you're really sick of it. But
get you over it in a hurry.
Yeah. So this is one that was on that record. Okay, it's called "Coming O'er the Hill."
Sitting in the airport in Chicago, watching big jets fading out of sight, trying not to feel so blue while I'm thinking about you. And I wish that I could talk to you tonight, but it's been a year or more since I have seen you. We haven't spoken since the day of our big chill. Now mountains in our way, but I'm waiting for the day that I see you at the top of that hill. Will I see you in the morning when our time's begun anew? Or will I have to wait for evening when my words are faint and few? You know I've always loved you, and you know I always will. I can't wait to see you coming o'er the hill. Well, this dry, dusty hill I put between us, I'm trying hard to tear it to the ground. Oh, you're out there on your own and you're feeling all alone, but you need to know I'll always be around. So I'll climb this hill as long as it may take me, and when I see you it will be my biggest thrill. Oh, then the grass will turn to green with the bluest skies you've ever seen. It's all up there on the top of that hill. Will I see you in the morning when our time's begun anew? Or will I have to wait for evening when my words are faint and few? You know I've always loved you, and you know I always will. I can't wait to see you coming o'er the hill. You know I've always loved you, and you know I always will. I can't wait to see you coming o'er the hill. See, I got another one I want to do. It's pretty new. I'm trying to remember what key I do it in. Okay, I'm gonna try to get this thing in tune again. Actually, I'm gonna do a different one. Looks like we have time for one more. This is one that I wrote after played in a band called Cain's River. And we were toured Canada and all over the country. And on this one particular tour, we were gone for about 10 days, and we didn't make much money, but we had a really good time, which counts for something, I suppose. And so I wrote this song about playing music on the road with your friends, and it's called Somewhere Down the Road. And in the middle of it, I'll put a little bit of that old Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs song, Down the Road. So it goes like this. Get up, boys, it's 8:30. I don't know how we slept so late. Breakfast will just have to wait for somewhere down the road. So grab the banjo and your guitar, we'll load them in our old blue car. I hope the next gig is not too far, somewhere down the road. Take my turn behind the wheel for a couple hours until I feel I need a break. By then we'll be somewhere down the road. Road tank of gas and we're on our way across the San Francisco Bay, past the town of San Jose, somewhere down the road. Somewhere down the road I know another town is waiting. We'll sing our songs of love and how she left him all alone. But when the show is over and the last few notes are fading, I find myself thinking about my home, somewhere down the road. We find our way way to the concert hall. I think we played here late last fall. We packed the place and had a ball out here on the road. We'll see our name on the marquee sign. The lights come up and we feel fine. Pretty girls clap their hands in time as we sing down the road. Well, down the road about a mile or two lives a little girl named Pearly Blue. About so high and her hair is brown. Prettiest thing, boys, in this town. Well, anytime you wanna know where I'm headed, it's down the road. To see that gal on the line, you find me there most any old time. Well, somewhere down the road, I know another town is waiting. We'll sing our songs of love and how she left him all alone. But when the show is over and the last few notes are fading, I find myself thinking about my home. Somewhere down the road.
That's an old favorite.
Kind of odd playing that by myself. I'm gonna stick that old down the road thing in there.
Yeah.
Works better when you have a whole band and have a banjo too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Fill in that Earl spot.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you very much for coming in tonight. And
yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, hope people check out the new album. And it's a lot of fun. It's a nice collection of songs. So.
Thank you. Yeah, you can find that album on my website. It's johnlowell.com, or there's we signed up for Bandcamp, which is a streaming platform, but or you can actually order physical CDs from there. But it's johnlowell.bandcamp.com, and streaming unfortunately is here to stay. Pandora and Spotify pay musicians 0.00001 cent for their intellectual property, and Bandcamp at least is trying to do the right thing and pay musicians. So I wholeheartedly suggest that you check out Bandcamp.
Yeah, Bandcamp makes sure that my bank account doesn't get too full on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah,
it is awesome.
Yeah.
So all right, well. Thanks again. We'll be back next Wednesday night. We'll try to help you get all prepped up for Thanksgiving with Bluebelly Junction here in the studio. So that should be a good time. And we hope you'll stay tuned to KGVM and check out the Loken Productions YouTube channel. And check out johnlowell.com or Bandcamp, johnlowell.bandcamp.com for a lot of great music.
All right. Thanks, Bob.
All right.